galaxy divided. Striking swiftly after the Battle of Geonosis, Count Dooku's droid army has seized control of the major hyperspace lanes.
What's going on, guys? I'm the Walrus Jedi, and welcome to a special video. We are comparing the two Clone Wars series. So if you like this idea, then please consider liking and subscribing and hitting the notification bell for more. As well as you are free to suggest any other things you would like to see a comparison video on in the comments. Without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so a little over a week ago I put out a poll on the channel. It simply said, which is better, Star Wars Clone Wars 2003 or Star Wars The Clone Wars 2008? And 165 people voted. 74% of them voted for 2003 and 26% voted for 2008. So pretty interesting. Alright, now we'll do some comparisons and then read some comments. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and other heroes. In 2003, Anakin is still a Padawan who eventually is knighted near the end of the Clone War. The voice actor for Anakin, Matt Lucas, feels closer to Hayden Christensen. He isn't a suave ladies' man. He's a capable warrior, a hero even, that's a bit awkward in the romance department. His relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi is on better display in the 2003 series. It starts out as teacher to student, and then eventually morphs into brothers. And this is done in a mere fraction of the runtime compared to 2008. Neither of these characters do things that contradict the movies, like duel Grievous or Dooku. In 2008, Anakin was knighted not long after Geonosis, creating continuity issues with the Clone Wars multimedia project, including the 03 Clone Wars. Matt Lanter doesn't do a bad job as Anakin, but it's just not the same Anakin from the movies. In the 08 series, Anakin feels like a dashing action hero who gets the ladies. Anakin's relationship with Obi-Wan isn't bad in the show, it's just not focused on, as the show worries far more about his relationship with Ahsoka and fleshing that out. Anakin duels Dooku multiple times throughout the series when they really shouldn't. If you look at the movies, they duel each other in Attack of the Clones, and then a few years later, it's a rematch, and you have Anakin say,
"My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Count."
Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
I just feel like it doesn't make sense to then have them fighting several times throughout the Clone Wars. Obi-Wan, on the other hand, duels Grievous a few times, and while not necessarily contradicting the movies, these duels don't really do much in terms of plot, or they're not that interesting because they're always involving characters that we know that can't die. Padme, in the 03 series, she's not in a ton, but when she is, I feel like it's meaningful. And then in 2008, she's in it far more, but a lot of the time I feel like it's filler or just kind of there. Jedi characters for the 03 series, you get some moments for Yoda, Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Luminara Unduli and Barasafi, Shaak Ti, and Saesee Tiin. And compared to the 2008, where Plo Koon gets quite a bit of time to shine, and then a few of the other Jedi characters get an episode, maybe two, to shine, and that's it. Now some comments. Ryden's room, to quote the 10th Doctor, does it need saying? Does it? I guess. I don't know. Star Wars Expanded Universe, Clone Wars 03 for the win. Agreed. Aden Laverde, 2003 by miles. Light years, I dare say. And Mara, they both good. Eloquently said. Now on to Ventress, Grievous, and other villains. For 2003, Ventress is used well, which ends in a duel with Anakin on Yavin 4. Grievous is terrifying and far more lethal, as he kills several Jedi and isn't used all the time. Dooku is used sparingly and done well. Now, kind of the theme for the villains in the 03 is they're not overused in the show, which is good. Dirge, he's a badass and a great villain to fight a Jedi, as his species, Obi-Wan cut him up multiple times and he's still attached. Now, you do see in the show that he explodes, but I don't think he's dead. I don't know, it's hard to say. Maybe he is. That's the thing about that species, is could he come back? Who knows? For 2008, you have Ventress, who is used poorly until Season 3. Because before Season 3, she's basically just, go do this. And she's a lightsaber wielder for our heroes to fight and beat, and then she runs away and shakes her fist, I'll get you next time, type of deal. But eventually, they decided to do something interesting with her where she gets betrayed by Dooku and does the Night Sister thing and then becomes a bounty hunter, tries to assassinate Dooku and all this stuff. Is that better than Ventress being a cool Sith assassin that they could have done more with? Because her being Dooku's apprentice isn't a bad thing. It's just they didn't do anything interesting with it. Grievous is a joke, running away all the time. And he feels like a villain of the week, just like Ventress. And most of these villains end up feeling like that. They're just there for our heroes to fight and easily beat, and then they run away. And Grievous doesn't kill very many Jedi, and I think that's not very good. Just kills Nadar Veb, which really isn't that impressive because he's a Jedi Knight. Dooku is overused because he fights all the time, has duels and stuff like that. And if you cut all those duels out, I think I don't have an issue with Dooku being in TCW. Makes more sense. You do have Darth Sidious popping up a little bit because he goes to take out Maul and Savage. I don't know if that makes sense. Why couldn't Dooku have done that? Maybe not, but it's a little aggressive in terms of the Sith are supposed to be in the shadows, and I don't think Darth Sidious would do that. People not paying attention. Maul and Savage, they resurrected Maul, which I don't think was necessary because Savage Opress could have fulfilled all of what Maul did in Clone Wars. Because he could have been like, I'm fine with them being brothers, so he basically wants revenge on Obi-Wan for killing Darth Maul. What really is the difference between... Yeah, you could have got the same outcome, but it's improved because you don't have to resurrect a dead character. That doesn't make any sense. And you could have fleshed out and had another awesome evil Sith character, Sith assassin. And then you have Cad Bane, a really cool bounty hunter that, again, TCW likes to do. They overused. The first couple of episodes and appearances are really great, and then it's kind of diminishing returns as they keep bringing him back and bringing him back and bringing him back. More comments. So we have Star Wars narrator, 2003 for me, and it's not even close. Solar Volodin, 2003 is canon, 2008 is the birth of Disney canon. I agree. TCW fits really nicely with Disney Star Wars. It even has the same philosophy of cherry-picking things from the expanded universe. It's almost like TCW was made for Disney Star Wars. Wooly02. We all know the answer. See, that could go for either one. I'm assuming it's 2003, but it's kind of vague. And then a Santiago, the original Clone Wars event, aka the Clone Wars Multimedia Project, is the real deal. I agree. Not that canon-breaking, lore-infesting knockoff remake. Since I like Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2, I need to deal with some aspect of Filoni's crap, but trust me, I ignore about 95% plus of TCW in my EU. You don't have to like Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, you don't have to like all the Dave Filoni stuff. You could just have it separate. Next, the Mon Calamari arc and Less is More. For 2003, it's focused on Kit Fisto leading the Mon Calamari who side with the Republic to fight and defeat the Quarren and the Separatists. Whereas in the 2008, it's longer, and Kit Fisto is still in it, but he's a minor character, and you make room for Padme, Anakin, and Ahsoka to help, and all this other stuff, Gungans and all that. For 2003, you have more action in it, and there's no filler. There's no wasting time doing dumb stuff that doesn't really matter, because 2008 has some good moments, but it's got lots of filler. Like some of the arcs that are 4 episodes, they don't need to be 4 episodes long, like the D-Squad arc and the arc with Martez sisters, Dumb and Dumber. Some more comments from Autotech. I love democracy. Nice. Yasin says, EU Clone Wars Multimedia Project is greater than the Clone Wars Project. The Dark Jedi says 2003, no contest. I agree with that. And then you have Katamadion. 03 was sensational. I agree. Now for the ending or tying into Revenge of the Sith. For 2003, we see the Battle of Coruscant, not just in space, but on the ground. Yoda and Mace Windu are leading clones and fighting droids and all sorts of stuff on the ground. And we see General Grievous kidnap the Chancellor, fighting multiple Jedi and killing some. And then we even see Mace Windu crushing Grievous, which gives the explanation as to why General Grievous coughs in Revenge of the Sith. It also ties into all sorts of things in the Clone Wars multimedia project, and it ends right where Revenge of the Sith picks up, so it's fantastic. Whereas 2008, we focus on Ahsoka, on Mandalore, because, it isn't TCW without focusing on Ahsoka. And she brings in Darth Maul, and she's heading to Coruscant when Order 66 happens. So it does tie into Revenge of the Sith. You see little scenes and little references. You hear Anakin killed Dooku, and you see little meetings and stuff like that. It's just not as well done as I think the 03 Clone Wars is. Less satisfying. Let's finish off the comments. Kinda Sorta Maybe says, they are very different, and I like both a lot. Fair enough. Titus says, both are good, but it's difficult to compare the two, because the micro series is not a show in the sense TCW is. I agree with that. It's just a collection of ad break shorts versus full-length 23-minute episodes. You could compare them. This is why I'm comparing how they handled Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ventress, Grievous, Dooku, most of the characters that overlap in both, some events, and how it ties into Revenge of the Sith. Andrew Helm says, well, I gave the 2003 version a go for your recent live streams. You did. But, both story-wise and the animation style, it's not a patch on TCW. I watched the latter for the first time in 2012 and thought to myself, now this is Star Wars. Alright, someone that's definitively for the 08 Clone Wars. Fair enough. Lucian says, crazy how a micro-series with 3 to 12-minute episodes did Anakin better than TCW. I agree with that. Now let's go on to the verdict. So this is my opinion. I think it's pretty clear how I've gone through all these things that I think 2003 is better than 2008. In my opinion. I think it handled the characters and the Clone Wars better. Let me know what you think of each Clone Wars series and which one you think is better in the comments section down below. And again, are there any other things that you would like to see a comparison video on? Feel free to share in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and until next time, thanks for watching.